Welcome everybody to a new episode from our pilot season, a break from the daily grind. This episode is brought to you by
DTE Energy. DTE Energy is leading the way to a cleaner, safer, and smarter energy future, empowering our internet shenanigans since we hit the record button. In case you have not remembered who we are just yet, my name is Corey, and my co-host Ben is across the table.
Sup.
Ben, what's been happening lately?
Oh, not a whole lot of nothing.
No? Nothing?
No, not a whole lot's been going on. I just been doing a lot of research for today's topic and just doing the normal life thing. Unfortunately, I'm not quite back to work yet, but I hope to in the next month or so. So,
never heard anybody say unfortunately when going back to work.
Well, I'm not looking forward to going back, but I need something to do.
Ah, okay. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm not looking forward to the pile of pucky that I'm going to have to go back to, but it'll keep the lights on, I guess. So how about you?
I'm tired, man. I think I'm catching something, too.
Yeah, well, it just ran through our house, so.
Did it?
Yeah. You're welcome.
Great place to be, then.
Well, fortunately, it hasn't been really strong this time around. It's just, a little congestion.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah,
it's going to take a lot more than that to take me out.
Before we get started with today's topic, I'd like to start out by telling a few bad dad jokes.
Yikes.
Yeah.
No, I'm not ready. I'm not even going. Let's get this over with.
Yeah, you're ready. Don't even try that. I'll tell you what. I'll do a good one for you.
Oh, a good one.
Just for you.
That's debatable.
Yep. So how does a computer get drunk?
Oh, okay. How does a computer get drunk?
It takes screenshots. Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That's mediocre. Okay, how about this one? What do you call a snowman that throws a temper tantrum? Since it is like cold as crap outside.
I don't know.
How about a meltdown?
That's what I was thinking. Oh my gosh. I should have said it.
Yeah.
I should have said it.
All right. Do you know the name of the satellite that NASA is launching to tell the aliens that we're sorry?
No.
They're calling it Apollo G.
I like that one.
You like that one?
Yeah, I like that one. Oh, wait. I got one.
You got one?
Yeah. What do you get when you mix the Atlantic and the Titanic?
I don't know.
About halfway.
About halfway to the bottom. Okay, well. Hopefully those put a smile on your face. And now that we got that out of the way, we can get down to the topic of today's discussion, which just happens to be fears.
Yikes.
So, just as a little direction, I would like to clarify the difference between a fear and a phobia, all right?
All right.
The main difference between a fear and a phobia is that a fear is a rational reaction to a potential threat, while a phobia is an irrational fear disproportionate to actual danger. Okay, does that make sense? The fear is real, but the reason why you're afraid is irrational or disproportionate. A fear would be, like running from an aggressive animal.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be a fear. A phobia would be a fear of a little puppy.
Yeah.
Attached to a leash.
Yeah.
Right. It's contained. It's not
when
going to
rip. It can't cause you
right.
any.
There's no immediate danger.
There's no life.
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the difference between the fear and phobia. I also found out that phobias can also be caused by a few things, right? Which I didn't know this one. Genetics.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand that one. It's a learned behavior, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm afraid of something that's in my past, but you're afraid of the same thing that you have no reason to be afraid of, That would be a learned behavior. Brain chemistry and environmental factors. And I'm not exactly sure what those are, but
Essentially, like, say you were raised on, like, a farm. Let's say you get attacked by, like, a rooster. You know?
farmers don't get attacked by roosters. Farmers make chicken soup.
Let's say you get attacked by a rooster or something. All right.
You're visiting a farm.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're visiting a farm.
All right.
You know, and you get attacked by a rooster.
Okay.
That stuff. I'd say that's an environmental fear because you wouldn't have got that fear, you know, if you didn't visit the farm.
Right. That would be an environmental factor.
Yeah.
The brain chemistry is way above my pay grade. That probably has to do with chemical imbalances in the brain and
Well, I think that goes along
misfires
with what you were saying with
Yeah.
like some people it's genetic, you know.
right. I think that genetic means you're just more susceptible to a phobia. I mean, there's a lot of people that are afraid of a lot of stuff.
I mean, isn't that what a fear is though? It's just like something going on in your brain, like a chemical going on in your brain.
Yeah, like I said,
essentially.
it's a little above my pay grade. I like to think I'm smart, but I don't think I'm quite that smart. Brain activity is definitely above my pay grade. So, all right. So this week we are going to do what scares the bejesus out of you. So that could be a fear or a phobia,
Mhm.
depending on what it is. Doesn't matter. So I guess you want to go ahead and start off this crazy train.
I feel like when it comes to my fears, it's either 0, like the stupidest thing ever, or it's like 100. And it's like, and when I say 100, it's like deep psychological or like almost things that are out of your control that I feel like everybody worries about in the
Right.
back of their head, like a nuclear war.
Right.
Because I feel like everybody's thought, oh, that's scary.
Right.
I fear that, you know. We'll get down that eventually. That's the meat and potatoes. I want to start out with something lighthearted. I hate bats.
Bats.
Yeah, bats scare me. I'm afraid of bats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that maybe in your past or they're just
It's-
creepy as shit?
No,
and
it's just what they can do, you know. Like I don't like the idea that it could have rabies and stuff. And
so can your dog. So could your cat.
I know,
though.
but like if you can't sometimes know if you've been bit by a bat,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like the chances of my domesticated dog having rabies is so low.
Well, yeah,
compared-
but if the bat had bitten the dog, you wouldn't even know that either.
yeah, but if the dog has had like shots and stuff,
I'm
they
not
shouldn't
trying
be.
to feed your fear here.
They shouldn't be susceptible to rabies if they're like properly taken care of.
Right,
I
but
assume.
but yours is specifically the bat. It's not the rabies. It's the bat.
No, it's just because like it's the bat specifically because I don't like how it moves around. It flies like it's out of control, and it's only has limited control over its mobility.
Actually has extreme control over its mobility.
That's not what my eyes are seeing.
but your eyes are not seeing it properly.
I
They
don't-
actually bats actually have way better control over their flight than most birds.
I don't give a shit, dude. That's not what it's putting on an act. Then you know, I don't care. Like, that thing's flopping around like it's
Like a fish out of water.
a fish out of water. Like someone lost one of their wheels while they're driving their car. Oh my goodness!
I think
dude.
I've seen that car before on the road. We said we were gonna do this one, and I tried to think of little stuff, and there's stuff that startles me, but as for stuff that actually I'm afraid of, got fear of, most of them are deep,
Yeah.
big stuff. The little
Big
stuff, as long as people and spiders don't scare me.
Yeah.
I mean, I can be startled by them, for sure. Anything can startle me, but I'm not really afraid of it, So
Well-
this one is kind of to start out lighthearted and kind of in the shallow end of the pool. I really don't have a whole lot for this one.
No.
No, I mean,
I could rattle mine off really quick. Just get those like little, because there's only like a couple for me that are like.
Let's dive. Let's do
Yeah.
it. So the first one was bats.
Bats, just because they're like.
They have a weird flight pattern.
They have weird flight patterns. And there was that one time I was working with Mom, and I had to like take out the trash. One swooped down at me, and I remember reflexively putting up this giant piece of cardboard that I was carrying over to the recycle bin, and it hit it, and it flew back up. So I don't know if it was trying to attack me, if I looked delicious or something. You know,
You're an insect.
yeah. I'm a big insect. I know you've called me a cockroach before, so it's starting to come full circle now.
Bats don't usually. Well, I guess they do fly. Cockroaches do fly, but usually they stick to insects that fly.
Oh man, yeah, no. And then on top of that, it's also the fact that like if it gets in your house and it bites you in your sleep, you're not gonna feel it, and you don't know. You're not gonna know unless you see it and stuff in front. And then the rabies starts developing without you knowing it. This is my fear. Let me be unrational about it.
No, this part is definitely rational.
Yeah.
I know where you're going with this. This part is definitely rational.
Yeah. This is probably the most average reason to have a fear is just I feel like people just are scared of things and have fears of things just because it looks unsettling and it's just creepy. For me, it's puppets. You know, not like sock puppets, you know, but
like Jeff Dunham type puppets.
No, not even that. It's like the marionette attached to the string puppets, you know, like the Goosebumps,
like third century type.
Yeah.
Chinese or Japanese or whatever those was behind the.
Yeah, dude, those are creepy.
Yeah,
I don't like those.
No,
I don't. Yeah, I don't. No reason. They just creep me out. They just creep me out.
I can't say a whole lot about that except for now I know what to get you.
You're an asshole.
I've been called that a few times. That is correct.
And then kind of wading into the deeper water there. This is the first one I feel like a lot of people can relate to is I don't like deep water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, was that supposed to be like a pun?
You'd love that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I would actually. I was listening to you talk, and then you decided to jump into the deep water, which, pun intended. And I was like, there is one thing that does kind of unsettle me, like you were describing. That I was thinking about, and that's cockroaches.
Really?
Cockroaches give me the heebie-jeebies.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not really afraid of them. Like, I'm not going to go to full-blown attack, panic attack, and sweaty palms and crawl up in the corner and suck on my thumb like a child. But
yeah,
cockroaches are definitely something that definitely creeps me out for sure. So, and I don't have really any reason for it.
It's just one of those things. It's like it's not like you had a traumatic experience with cockroaches. It's just for you and you yourself. It's just unsettling. There's no reason why. It's just like I felt that way about cockroaches.
Yeah, and it's not like, I work in a factory, right? There's always, right now I work in the warehouse moving boxes that come from all over the world. And there's always spiders and cockroaches. Every once in a while I'll pick up a box of the forklift and I'll see a cockroach. And these are not your average cockroaches either. These are like Australian cockroaches,
Gross.
Yeah, they come out from the box and they actually have saddles on them. You could ride these. They're huge, right? They're massive. Yeah. And it's like, dude, is that a small dog that just came out of that cardboard box? No, it was a cockroach. And it is. It's like, you know what? That's kind of, you can just stay in the box. I'm good with you. You just stay there and don't fly. Don't turn into a pterodactyl.
I feel like it's also like in the back of your head. It's like what they're capable of, too. At the end of the day, too, because I think about when I was a kid and stuff. Mom and my dad moved into one of the apartment complexes over here when I was really young.
I remember.
And their neighbor is upstairs or next door or something like that.
Yep. Your uncle was living in the basement.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And whoever the neighbor was, I don't know, because I was an infant still.
Right. They were dirty.
They were disgusting,
Yep.
and they'd have cockroaches coming out of the walls and like the vents and all that, and just like thinking about that is really disturbing.
Well, you also have to understand that cockroaches will live in any sewer system,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in town, right there in town, there's a sewer system,
Yep.
right? And any floor drains, like all of our houses that we've been in, they all have floor drains in the basement,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's code, right? So if something happens, the water can get out. Well, most of them do not have water traps, so they're just an open drain.
Oh yeah, that's how it is at the school.
Right.
We'll see them running around.
Yep,
Just,
and that's where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily. I mean, I've heard the story, and I heard that the neighbor was extremely dirty, and that probably didn't help.
no.
But they probably had originally came from the sewer system.
Oh yeah.
We have them in our factory. Of course, our factory is inside the city limits, and it's hooked to it's in a very big town, right? Big city.
Mm-hmm.
And our cockroaches come up through. I mean, you'll see them come up through the drains. They live in the sewers. They live all over the place. There's plenty of places, dark places for them to hide and conjugate and do all weird things that cockroaches do. That's the part about living in the city,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Yep. So now you're going off. Now you done gone off after that. Now you've gone off the deep end, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Deep water. There's all different aspects
Right.
for why that's terrifying. Have you seen videos of like? Well, you used to watch Deadliest Catch.
Yep.
A lot. So you've seen like the
Love that show.
storms that they would get caught
Oh, yeah.
in out there, and like the mile high waves that the ships would run through.
Yep.
And everything. That alone gives me anxiety.
Them big waves are usually they come from open waters
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh yeah.
That has more to do with the wind than the deep water.
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
It's more so because like when you think about it, when you get out to that point in the water where those big waves are like that and stuff, for them to get that size, there needs to be a certain depth below them to pull that water from.
Yeah, but it
You
does,
know?
the as long as it's deep enough. I mean, not to change gears on you, but there's a lake
Mhm.
in Florida. It's called Okeechobee Lake, right? It's a massive lake. It's like Lake Superior size, if not bigger, right? It's
Yeah.
a very massive inland lake. And when the storm rolls in from there, the waves will get huge.
Mhm.
And an old friend of my parents, he says that they've seen storms come through there, right? And the waves would get so big that it would literally push all the water out of the lake.
Yeah.
Like, so the depth is not a concrete factor on the size of the waves. But if the waves were to flip you over and then you happen to be in the water, then the depth would be.
See, you hit it right there. That's what I was trying to. That's what I'm thinking of.
So
you
it's
know?
not necessarily deep
you're-
water.
Well, you're out in the middle of this ocean.
Right.
There is only water for miles, and you know the further out you get, the further down it is. You know, and let's say you get flipped by these waves, and it just scares me to like. Just because it's like an abyss, you get pulled off your ship, and then you can just get dragged down at that point.
Oh, you are.
And-
You're gonna
yeah,
go down.
Yeah, and it's just endless. It's like at least when you're close to the shore, or you're in like a lake, like you
yeah.
described.
So
At
sure,
least you can think like maybe there's a bottom. That slim chance. Maybe I'll touch solid ground at the bottom, but that's not the case when you're just out there in the middle of the ocean with nothing else but these huge waves that could flip you, and you're trusting the ship out there too, which there's no way. And then to go off of that, that's just one
So
aspect.
not before you get too carried away.
Yeah.
You know, you sense about hitting the bottom. You don't have to ever worry about hitting the bottom, right? Because you know the pressure of the water will crush you before you ever get down.
Oh,
there.
I know. Oh man.
So now we're bringing up movies like Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
I think there's one called The Abyss too.
I think you're right, actually.
I think that one's the which probably is another factor of your deep waters
Yeah.
because you don't know what's in it.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too, is as far as the like ocean goes and like the ocean floor,
Right.
I think we've only mapped like 11% of the ocean floor.
Yeah, it's something like that.
It's something really low. It's not a lot, you know? And that's scary too, is because you don't know what's down there. You don't know what's lurking down there. There's probably things down there we've never even seen before that we probably can't even comprehend, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they're always coming up with photos of stuff like that.
I mean, with how massive the oceans are too, there's a good reason why you probably never see it. If it's that big, it'd probably be halfway across the earth at one point and then halfway around it at another point, you know? And then there are like creatures that live down in the ocean that have way longer lifespans than most of the things. There was this post that I saw. It was talking about the shark that was discovered, that based off the markings on it and everything that it's gone through, it was over like 400 years old.
Yeah, but it's not like they just said, "Hey, shark, how old are you?" Right? They're going off of, you know, certain things that I don't know if we really truly have a full grasp on.
Well, I just think that's interesting because, like, imagine if it is actually 400 years old. You know, just think about this shark that's just been strolling around down there, and it's lived through, it has no idea what's going on above, like all the history that it's lived through just existing in the water and stuff,
yeah, I mean,
you know?
If you think about it, something that is something like that, like a shark, they don't have a whole lot of natural predators.
Mm-mm.
And at that depth, there's even less predators. So the chances of them living their full life is way better than us up here
Oh, yeah.
trying to live ours.
Yeah.
So I can see how those animals at that depth.
Well, there's a lot more space down there, too, you know,
Right.
than there is up where we're at.
Yeah, the only thing they have to worry about is freezing to death.
I'm sure they're fine at finding warm spots, you know. Yeah. I don't know. The bottom of the ocean scares me. It's just the empty abyss.
Right.
Of I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it. I've never gone to like the ocean or taken a boat out into the middle of the ocean, but I don't really have any desire.
So we're not going to jump on a cruise ship and go out for a sail, huh?
I would go on a cruise.
Right.
You know, but I don't know if I'll be standing near the railing.
I can tell you before you go, don't watch Deep Rising or Deep Blue Sea or whatever that movie was. That was like a great big squid attacked the ship and it was coming up through the toilets and pulling people through. That was rough.
That's creepy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So is there anything else that tied to the water?
No, man.
Not
that I can think of.
No?
No. I just don't like it.
No?
No.
And I don't really know what that one was called because I did have a few here.
The one for deep water, that's called thalassophobia.
That one was definitely not in the top 10 of common phobias. I think the first one that I had wrote down was death. So my first one was actually the most normal fear. And I'm not going to try to pronounce what that is because I would slaughter it. But it's 3 to 10% of the public actually has this.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not really what happens after I die, right? Because there's no control over that. You're going where you're going, right?
Yeah.
The main part for me would be the amount of pain up until the death.
Yeah.
Would definitely be a part of that. And the other one would be the second half of that would be leaving my loved ones behind and the worry of how they will continue on, right? So that would be the whole point of the two halves that would make my fear, right? The thing that I fear the most, as natural as it can be, would be death itself. That has a tendency to make me sit back and say, no, I don't like this. I mean, we all got to die, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a fact of
It's
life.
one of the inevitables.
Yeah, and that doesn't bother me. It's if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to check my time card, I
Mhm.
want it to be at night. I want to be asleep. I don't even want to know.
I think
Take me when I'm sleeping.
the uncertainty of it is what bothers me.
The uncertainty of death?
Yeah, because you never know when it's gonna happen. You know, I mean, to a degree.
Right.
You know, if your doctor is like, oh, you have cancer and you have 6 months to live, you know, that's probably a good estimate.
That's
You know?
heart-wrenching, but at that point, I don't think I would fear it.
Yeah, no,
per se?
I wouldn't either. If I'm being honest, I'm not sure what happens after you die. I don't know. You know, I've heard all sorts of stuff about what happens. If I'm genuinely being honest, what I think happens when you die is the same thing that happens before you're born. You know,
Right.
what happened before you were born?
Well, you were only half a person before you were born. Science has proven that. It's called an egg.
Yeah. So, like, you know, what do you think about when you're born? It's just emptiness. You
Well,
know?
that could be a whole nother topic,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of stuff that people believe, and that people
Yeah.
they believe.
I'm not discrediting.
No,
like
I mean-
you can believe whatever you want to believe, you know?
yeah.
Like, I'm just not sure. If I had to guess, like, based off what I know and just like logically, like if I'm going off of like this happened before I was born, I'm just assuming that's what's going to happen when you pass away, is it's going to go back to like that, you know, where it's just going to be kind of nothingness again.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, but
I don't want that to be the case. That's just like, that would be my best guess.
I think I got a book in the house you can read. It'd probably take care of that thought. Starts with a B, ends with an E. But we're like I said, that's a whole nother cast in all itself. So now that we're off in kind of the deep waters here.
Hmm.
Thank you, Corey.
Yeah, no problem.
Do you have anything else?
For like existential, that's the word I was looking for. I feel like a lot of it's either stupid little things or existential fears,
Right.
Like world-ending stuff.
Well, how about I know one that you're afraid of that you're probably not remembering off the rip.
What?
How about anesthesia?
Oh yeah. That scares me.
That scares you.
Yeah. Well,
That goes back to the whole pain thing.
yeah. So, for anybody who's unaware, it's this thing called anesthesia awareness, and it typically happens to 1 in every 1,000 patients where they're performing surgery on you of some caliber, and for some reason, whether it be the doctor forgot, the anesthesiologist forgot, or it just didn't take effect, they didn't pump enough into you, or some factor, you will not go under when your surgery starts. And a lot of times they use other sedatives in order to make you stable, so that when they're like have to cut into you and perform whatever they're doing, it's like a paralysis type drug
Right.
that they use so that you don't squirm when they're cutting into you, so they don't accidentally like slice something that they're not supposed to.
I'm squirming in my seat just thinking about it.
So essentially you're awake, but you can't move anything, you can't blink, you know, you can't do nothing. And
Completely paralyzed.
you're completely paralyzed, but
Yeah.
you feel everything that they do. Every nerve they cut into, every piece of skin that they cut into, every bone that they have to break, if that's something they have to do. Your organs being harvested. I don't know. It's bad. And I don't ever want to experience it. But I was nice enough to tell Ben about it like 2 weeks before.
Yeah, you told me 2 weeks before my surgery. As if the surgery part wasn't stressful enough. They go, hey, Ben, you realize that this is a real thing, right?
Yeah.
Thanks,
And it's not
Corey.
even super uncommon. 1 in 1,000.
Actually, I tried to look that up, and I think that was in the UK.
Was it in the UK?
It wasn't. I don't think that those stats was here in the
Okay.
United States, but I could be wrong. But
Well, the one
Even
of the
that
one of the
is-
stories I heard was from the UK
Yeah.
about that. So that I feel like that makes sense actually.
yeah. And I'm not saying that they have poor surgery practices over there because I have no idea. But I think that was the stats that I'd seen because I think I looked it up. I'm like, you son of a. Now I gotta look it up. And just as a side note, when I went to go in, they went to put me under.
Yeah.
The anesthesiologist come in. I told him, I says, look, I says, two little side notes here. I says, first, I have sleep apnea.
Yeah.
So, and I want you to be aware because, I do stop breathing when I'm sleeping and you're going to put me to sleep. I says, and two, do not be afraid to up the dosage on that stuff just in case. Because I tell you what, I repeat, do not want to wake up and be paralyzed while you're cutting my bones. He kind of looked at me and says, no problem.
Better to be safe than sorry,
Yeah, and you know what? That cost me a whole night in the hospital because I couldn't wake up the next after my surgery.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey,
It
he
took
was
two-
being thorough.
Because I was in recovery for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I have no recollection of being in recovery.
Really?
None. Right. So I went in surgery. Surgery went good. They moved me to recovery or post-op recovery, and I was in there for like, I don't know. I think I was in there for like 45 minutes to an hour
Yeah.
before they let Amy come back.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy said that we were in there for like an hour and a half.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Before they moved me to my next room. That was like 2 to 3 hours. I have no recollection of what happened whatsoever. None. She said I was making all kinds of, weird and not necessarily appropriate comments. But yeah, I have no recollection, none whatsoever.
That's
None.
crazy.
I'm like, well, I would rather it be that way than the other way. That's for sure.
Exactly.
So whatever he did,
Having
he did
too
enough
much
of it.
recollection.
Yeah. I think I would rather go that route than the other way for sure.
Yeah, that was. Thanks for reminding me of that one. I hate. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope you never have to have surgery.
Now, if I do, I'm gonna be doing the same thing that you did. And, hey, buddy, let me talk to you for a second.
Do not be afraid to double up on that drip right there.
Yep. Give me all the good stuff.
Well, there's a downside of all the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, first off, I couldn't wake up. Right?
Yeah.
I couldn't get up and walk
Yeah.
because that was the thing I had to do before I could leave.
Mhm.
Because I had to walk. The other thing is for the next 3 days I could not poop
Ooh.
because the amount of stuff that they give you, the anesthesia, which is a funny thing, they have absolutely no idea how anesthesia works.
Really?
None whatsoever. They could not tell you how it works or why it works. They just know that it does.
That's
right?
scary.
So that's one of those things. It's like, really? That's creepy. So they give you the anesthesia, right?
Mhm.
And then they give you a bunch of painkillers, right?
Yeah.
So you don't feel nothing.
Mhm.
In case you do wake up, you still don't feel nothing. Those kinds of drugs will make you constipated like you would not believe,
Yeah.
right? And it makes your whole internal organs just not function properly. So there's a downside to having that much stuff in you, for sure. It took me about a week or two for that stuff to work its way out.
Jeez.
I'm not talking about just the bowel movement. I'm talking about all the chemicals,
Oh.
all the drugs that they had pumped into me. It took about a
I
week.
guess it's a good thing you weren't planning on doing much anyways.
First week, I was stuck in bed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet.
I walked around. Well, for the people that are listening, I had a hip replacement, so that's what all this was. My hips were bad, and I had the first one done. So I needed to walk,
Hmm.
but I wasn't supposed to walk very far. I spent most of the first 3 or 4 days in bed, laying down, going absolutely nuts because I'm a mover.
Yeah.
I'm a mover and a shaker or whatever you want to call it. I have a hard time sitting still.
Hmm.
I need to be doing something. And for like 3 days, that's all I did is watch TV. And I tell you what, that was more torture than the surgery itself. Yeah, I know. And the sad part is I have to go back through and do it again.
Do you really?
I have to do the other one.
Oh, really?
Yep.
When is that?
I'm going to plan that one for next fall.
Next fall?
So
So it'll give you a whole year.
Yeah, they said it could take up to a year for me to fully recover from the first one.
Okay.
And that means nerve damage. I still have nerve damage and stuff in my leg. There's spots that I can't feel. So there's still nerve damage there. There's still muscle tissue damage that I still haven't completely gotten over with.
Yeah.
You know, I'm fairly functional now, but it's going to, he said it could possibly take up to a year to be back to 100%.
Jeez.
So we're going to take the year to do the full recovery. So when I have the other one done, and then I have to go through all that anesthesia and freaking out that I'm not going to be asleep. Thank you, Corey.
Hey, can you give me the same anesthesiologist again, please? Thank you.
Double me up, buddy. I brought my pillow. I'm staying the night.
What was his name? Yeah, Dr. Brad.
Yeah, my luck, he'd walk in and say, no anesthesia this time.
Yeah. Raw dogging it.
Yeah, no raw dog. That's what you do not to raw dog. No, because they pull your bone out through your leg. Yeah, you do not want to raw dog that one. No. So, yeah. So then I figured I'd take the year. That way I was fully recovered.
It's a good call, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of wishing I would do it sooner, but
I think you'll be thankful that you waited. Once.
Yeah, the fall gives me. I don't have as much stuff to do during the fall.
No, yeah.
So, I think it'd be better.
Give you the summer to do all the outdoor stuff that you need to do.
Yeah, and travel or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and not stuff.
Enjoy your first new hip.
Yeah, get it broken.
Yeah, get it broken.
Yeah, well, let's hope there's no breaking involved. Because
that would suck.
That would suck. Because they said you got 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be extremely careful, because what they do is they take the ball and they cut the ball off. They drill down through the middle. They drill a wedge shape inside the bone. They shove the insert in there, and then the bone's got to grow around that insert.
Yeah.
He says if before that bone is completely healed, if you hit it, you could literally shatter that femur.
Oh my goodness.
The top half of that femur. He goes, and that you really don't want to do that. I'm like, no, I don't want no shattering anywhere inside there.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Because then you have to have that femur rebuilt, right? And then you have to have it no.
I'll pass.
Okay, so so now now that we're already off the deep end, this one here is going to be one that's kind of way out there for you.
Aliens.
No
way, really?
Yep.
That's crazy.
I'm not talking about the ones that are born on this planet. Nope. Those I don't have a problem with. I have the ones that are not born on this planet. Extraterrestrials, right? Now, unfortunately, and you're going to find this funny, this actually falls under xenophobia.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. But I would like to be specific when it comes to xenophobia. Xenophobia and racism are very similar. Right?
Trust me, I know I'm super racist.
You are not. Shut up. In the fact, so xenophobia and racism are very similar in that they both involve prejudice and discrimination. But there are important differences to consider. Where xenophobia is the fear of anyone who is considered to be a foreigner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which would consider extraterrestrials. Racism is specifically directed toward people based on their race or ethnicity.
Ethnicity.
There you go. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. The people can be both xenophobic and racist, but the difference for me is that I don't have a fear for humans. The people that are born on this planet, I'm cool with, right? I have a healthy fear of the beings that are not from the human race, for sure. And the reason I think behind that is maybe because I watched way too many sci-fi movies, right? And usually those little buggers are nasty, right? When it comes to extraterrestrials, is the fact that technology, right? If these creatures have the technology to move, fly, whatever you want to call it, transport hundreds of light years from another planet. And don't you think that puts us at a huge disadvantage, right?
I mean, so my thinking is with aliens.
You have to laugh every time you say that, don't you?
Yeah, I do. That's because they're awesome. They're interesting.
They're
the
interesting.
concept of extraterrestrial life being somewhere else and existing at the same time that we are is really fascinating.
It is.
But I like the word because whenever, and it's not because it's like it's dumb or anything, it's just the word aliens. I think of like stupid, like cartoon, like dramatized.
Like Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, yeah, stuff like that.
Going
Like,
to zap you.
I think if they have the ability to travel at light speed and they can visit us like we're some kind of intergalactic petting zoo, you know, and they could have wiped us out if they wanted to a long time ago.
Well, here's the thing about that. If you actually think about it, you break it down logically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And humans, us as humans, we do this all the time, right?
Yeah.
Before we go to war, what do?
I guess we study.
We study
the enemy.
We research. We know just about everything that we can figure out about them. We know their plans. We know their trade routes. We know how they survive,
Mhm.
right? We know, well, we try. We don't
Yeah.
always know. But we try to know all that stuff.
Yeah.
Once they make themselves known,
Mm-hmm.
they know everything they need to know. They already think that they can pretty much wipe us out if they
Yeah.
choose to. They've already done the math. They've already done the logistics. And the fact of the matter is, if they're smart enough to be able to figure out how to travel that far,
Yeah.
their logistics is a lot better than ours.
If that's the case too, then clearly, like, if we're talking about that level of advancement in technology that they've already seemed to have mastered and stuff, clearly there's got to be some other fish in the pond besides us and them.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and I guess that kind of knocks the human uniqueness down a peg or two.
A little bit.
But I think for me, it's the fact of now the fact comes up is, all right, what's their moral compass?
Yeah.
Are they here just to say, well, you're an ant? I mean, how many times have you seen ants and you just spray this stuff and kill them all?
Yeah.
Right? We think of them as ants, right? They're
Yeah.
insignificant and they're all over the place.
Maybe
right?
we serve a purpose though, and that's the reason they haven't done anything.
I'm not saying they've been here, and I'm not saying that they have researched anything. I'm just saying.
I'm going based off like if they have, you know, I'm going off the argument if they exist and
Right.
they've already just been checking us out and everything. You know, what if like I think this is such a funny example. I think of Lilo and Stitch. You know, there's like a really brief scene in it where they talk about how they can't wipe out the human population because they farm mosquitoes or something from our planet, and so that's why they keep us around. So what if there's like something that they farm from our planet?
We farm it for them. It's called gold.
Exactly.
Gold.
Why do they want gold?
Gold is how is it described to me? Gold is like the universal material,
Yeah.
right? Because once you get outside the atmosphere, there's very, very few elements that humans are aware of
Yeah.
that actually survive in space. And the one that we have here is gold. Gold is one of those few elements that is almost a necessity when it comes to interplanetary travel because it does not deteriorate in outer space. I'm not sure I can't remember all the logistics because I didn't even think about looking all that stuff up. But gold is the key element to a lot of stuff that requires space travel.
Mm-hmm.
I know way back when NASA had sent up they sent up a time capsule, right? They made a CD and they were going to send it off into space for somebody to pick up. I don't know if you ever heard about it.
No, I've heard about it.
Right. I can't remember what it's called, but that disc that they made, that they sent up there, was pure gold.
Oh, really?
Because even if the container that was carrying it had failed, the disk would still be would still survive.
Oh, okay.
So gold is the rare element.
So even if that failed, it would
disk-
just float on.
Yep. The disk would float
Anyways.
on. I mean, chances are nobody'd ever find it.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest with you, I'm kind of hopeful they never did. But yeah, gold would be the one thing that, well, gold and water, right, would be the two main elements
Mm-hmm.
that would be needed for space travel.
I like to think that currently we're in like if there are intergalactic races that are that advanced, I'd like to think that we're like in the infantile stage for us.
Yep.
We're barely even, I assume if there's things out there like that, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on a lot longer.
Oh, yeah,
Like
for sure.
like I assume they have their own things they're dealing with on that side of the galaxy or whatever,
Even
you
on
know.
this side of the galaxy.
Yeah, and when sometimes it's kind of cool to think maybe we're in like the edge of whatever that is, so we're kind of left alone
Right.
a bit to our own devices. I also there's another theory, I don't know if you ever heard about it. It's called the Great Filter Theory.
I'm not ringing any bells.
I looked it up really quick. I watched a video on it. I thought it was really interesting, but I'll just read this overview that it gave. So the theory that suggests humans might be the first sentient species in space is often called the Great Filter Theory. Pretty much says that while life may be common in the universe, the steps to reach a technologically advanced civilization capable of space travel are so improbable that we could be the only ones to have achieved it so far, meaning we might be the first sentient species to explore space,
Right.
essentially.
Well, and I would love to agree with that.
Well,
The thing is though, and this is where a lot of scientists are also mathematicians.
mhm.
Do the math, right? Out of all, I mean, there's probably billions of planets that are habitable that have life on them,
Yeah.
right? Moons, all kinds of stuff, but it's probably more like microbes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And maybe animals at best, right? Sentient life is probably one of those just one of those exclusions. But the fact of the matter is that we are advancing as a race. I mean, it seems to be very slow in our
Yeah. Oh,
advancement.
yeah. Yeah.
But over the grand scheme of things, when you think, okay, the Earth has been here for what, like billions of years,
Mhm.
right? And humans have only so-called been on the Earth for, a couple thousand years.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, that's very fast,
Yeah.
right? And we are getting to a point where hopefully we can get our shit together and go on to the next step. But we've only been, this project, the human race and Earth has only been building for a couple billion years,
Mhm.
right? The galaxy has been building way longer than that.
Yeah.
And the universe has been building way longer than that. So in the grand scheme of things, we are infants
Mhm.
in space. But it happens, right?
Mhm.
Sentient beings happen, obviously,
Yeah.
right? There's a probability that there are other sentient beings within our own galaxy.
Yeah.
Now, the good thing is our galaxy is so massively large. It would be like finding a needle in the bottom of the ocean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it
Hopefully we found a good hiding spot.
Yeah, well, yeah. And the good thing is we're constantly moving, so good luck with that one. But that's my point, though, is that if you think about it, once a sentient civilization, race, whatever you want to call it, species, figures out how to maneuver and travel,
Mhm.
then it's just Russian roulette. What are they going to do? The first thing they're going to do is they're going to look for habitable planets.
Yeah.
Because why? That's what we do. We look for habitable planets.
That's fair. I feel like another thing people disregard though too is like we're assuming that they're going to be like a solid life form like us, where how we're like
Carbon-based.
Yeah, carbon based. That's what it is. How do we know like whatever it is isn't something like liquid based, or
well,
like
liquid based would be harder for it to travel.
yeah.
It could be sentient, but it may not have the ability or the technology to be able to advance. I mean,
That's what I mean. There's so
yeah.
for like something that's habitable for us might not be habitable
Right.
for something like
there
that.
is
you know?
there is the theory that there's more than just carbon based, I want to say beings, but carbon based life, I guess you'd say. There's also silica based,
Mhm.
which is completely, it's only a theory. We wouldn't even know
Yeah.
how it even exists. But then if you want to take it a step further and go into like phases,
Mhm.
because light comes in different phases, right?
Yeah.
So does material. Material like carbon based can be phased in different lengths and different, there's a whole different set of science behind it. That, I mean, there might be sentient beings walking through us right now, because the fact that our phase, our wavelength, our structure is invisible to them, just
Mhm.
like they're invisible to us. And there's tens of thousands of probably theories that would just make you sit there and it's already giving me a headache just thinking about it. But of course,
Well,
maybe
that's-
somebody sticking their head through my phased head and just,
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
the crazy thing about space.
right.
You know.
So I guess not to come back to get back on topic here. It's not the fact that aliens themselves scares me, right? I mean it is, and don't get me wrong, they scare the shit out of me, but it's the fact of what is their moral compass?
Yeah.
All right, are they here to say, you guys are almost there, you can do it, come, you got to do this and this and this, and once you understand this, and then you'll all be good and blah blah blah? Or are they going to look to us as the fact that, well, look at all those ants in the driveway,
Yeah.
whoosh, goodbye, right?
Yeah.
And I think, and that brings me back to the first fear that I was talking about, death, right?
Yeah.
So it all kind of ties back into the same thing, but that's definitely something that, no, thank you.
I still think that if they were here, I feel like they would have just wiped us out by now.
Well, if that was their intention,
Yeah, if that was their intention, because like if you're on intergalactic travel where you can travel at light speed and across the Milky Way and stuff, I feel like you said, like they could be here to watch. But if we're as weak and as insignificant as you say we are compared to them, what would there be to really watch?
Well,
at that point?
I would hope that if they are out there, and I don't know, maybe they'll be listening to this podcast. Hit the follow, like, and subscribe while you're at it, buddy.
Yeah.
But it's hopefully that I would like to think that their moral compass would be pointing in a very similar direction as ours. They're like, we have people that go off to all four corners of the earth
Mm-hmm.
to explore and watch. They're like, hey, look at this thing in its natural habitat. This is cool.
That's what I'm saying. Some
Right.
intergalactic zoo where it's
Right,
like
yeah.
like almost like you
We're-
can look but don't interact with the displays.
We're a
and
massive
stuff.
petri dish.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look at these little viruses.
I like to think that that's what every here's evidence of aliens is just some like extraterrestrial on some drunk bender that accidentally got a little too close to the exhibit, and they're like, now
fell over the wall.
Yeah, now the Martian government has to cover up everything. They're like, we got to close down the exhibit for another few light years again.
Right. Like what they don't realize, they thought Pluto was a planet. No, it was a billboard. It says next exhibit to the left.
You're so lucky they reclassified that planet.
Didn't they disqualify it as a planet?
Something
Yeah,
like
now it's a large
Yeah.
asteroid or something.
It's a dwarf planet.
Dwarf planet. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's not a planet. It's a billboard sign.
Yeah. Earth, two light years away.
Right. 2 light years up on the right. Third
Yeah.
planet from the sun.
Yep.
Can't miss it.
Can't miss it.
Keep your distance. They're covered with flies and satellites.
You don't want to bring it back to our government.
No, you don't want to bring their diseases back to us.
We're like that. I like to think of us like that. Do you know what North Sentinel Island is? It's like one of the last inhabited islands of like tribal people who are disconnected from the outside world.
I think I've heard of it.
They're
briefly.
protected by like the Indian government and stuff.
Right.
The government of India. You're not allowed to go there
Huh.
because they're literally an indigenous tribe that doesn't like have contact with outsiders. But I like to think.
But knowing the human race, I bet you they've had some sort
Oh
of...
no, a plane crashed there one time, and there was no survivors.
Right.
I think any survivors that were there got taken by them and killed.
Oh, so it's
And-
more like a cannibal tribe.
Yeah, well, not even cannibals. I just don't think they like outsiders.
They're
But
xenophobes.
there
We should
were
get along great.
there were pictures taken actually after the plane crash. They were salvaging from the plane, and people were noticing from like studying them from a distance that they were using metal tipped arrows, and it was the metal from the plane that they salvaged.
Right.
They were using it on their arrows
They
to.
they realize that that's aluminum. Not the strongest.
I like to think that that's what we look like to some of these like highly technologically
highly
advanced, alien species
Yep.
if they are out there.
Yeah, no, yeah. Brr. That would no thing. I don't mind being a puppet behind the glass.
Nah, man, just give me a nice Wi-Fi internet, and
I will show you all kinds of weird, dumb things I can do. We're good with that. It's just I just don't want to be your next project.
just 3 meals a day, nice living space.
I want to be left out of the biology lab.
Yeah, no probing for me,
yeah, no,
please.
I like my organs where they're at. Yeah, I don't think there's a few people I can give you a list that would probably function better that way, but not me. No, thank you.
I'll make you as much quibbly bits or whatever your monetary money is called.
Cryptocurrency.
Yeah,
I'll send you some cryptocurrency.
I'll send you some Bitcoin. Just leave me alone.
Right? They're like, no, we want gold dollars. Gold dollars.
Gold dollars.
That's what we want. So, okay. That's crazy. All right. So let's go ahead. I had one more, but we'll save it for next time.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. And with that will conclude our topic for today. From Corey and I, we would both like to thank all of you that stayed with us to the end of today's discussion. And we hope that you enjoyed the topic of chat and hope that you will join us next week for more conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And now we would like to leave you with this thought of the week.
Challenges are what make life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. Joshua J. Marine. And with that, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Later.